T-Man 978 Chill Comparison Review. Hello everyone, I'm T-Man 978. Right now I'm going to be reviewing the Transformers animated Voyager class Decepticon Seekers, Starscream, Sunstorm, and Skywarp. How do I feel about them? Well, they suck. If you want to see some possibly better Decepticon Seekers, take a look at my Decepticon Seeker playlist right there. And as always, if you enjoyed this review, click the like button, subscribe, share. Until next time, T-Man 978, out of here. You didn't click away. Good, because I have some more thoughts on them. Oh boy, these guys have a ton of problems. When I originally bought these like years ago, I don't remember them being so aggravating, but now after digging them out of my vault, they frustrate the hell out of me. In jet mode, they're pretty much good. One thing I don't like is, ever since G1, or after G1, the Seekers don't have a unified color scheme anymore. Like, take note to this guy. Starscream on his nose cone has some red stripes right there. Skywarp doesn't. It's like it's very, very close, but not close enough as far as their unified design. Other things, the tail fins, Starscream has this red right there. Skywarp doesn't. Starscream has this light blue patch right there. He doesn't have like some type of light patch right there, but all of them look decent enough in the jet mode. And Sunstorm here, well, let me not even get into that. It is no unified color scheme at all, unless, no, it's not, because he has these thrusters back here. Red is this maroonish color, and white up there, and all of the body is one color. I love this color scheme. Out of all of them, I love his color scheme the best. Unfortunately, it has the most messed up stuff, like this maroon overlapping light right there. Since it's the same thing over here, I guess you could say that's not a flaw, but I don't know if you'll even be able to see this, but all that mess in the white paint right there, it was like that when I opened this. And just the quality of the plastic and quality of the figure is just horrible on all three of them, to be honest. If you ever heard of mold degradation, it's when they reuse a mold several times, and after a while, they start being messy and just get KO quality. Well, the first figure, Starscream, was already a wreck. Right now, I have their landing gear out, and if it wasn't on this table, it probably would roll. They're sliding very well, as you can see right there. But you can put the landing gear back up. And things of note, if you don't have fingernails, getting this out will be difficult. And if you do have fingernails, it's still going to be difficult. And on two of the figures, pulling this out, I pulled this part completely off. But it is very difficult to get this open. And then when you do that, you break up the mold or to break up the transformation. So you got to do stuff like squeeze that back together, which is frustrating. It has missiles. On all of them, the missiles can come forward and shoot. On the cartoon, the missiles were on the wings, just like every other Seeker, Decepticon Seeker. But they didn't do that here, in this case. And they are hair triggers. If you store these things anywhere, the missiles will fire off, and they all fire well. That's one thing going good for it. The cockpits, they honestly, I can't see. Yeah, there is a seat in there. I don't know if there's a steering wheel in there because it's really hard to see. No, on Sunstorm it's a little bit easier to see, and I don't see a cockpit in there. They almost look like they open, but they don't. So I dislike that. And before taking these guys into the transformation, here's a comparison I should have done in Lugnut's review, but I didn't. Here they are together, and as you can see, Lugnut is definitely out of scale with these guys, because the type of jet he should be or plane he should be massively huge, and he's not. So let me get ready to go to transformation. Transformation, since Starscream is the least infuriating of the three, let's start with him. I'm going to go ahead and shoot these missiles off because they will probably shoot themselves off anyway. Put the landing gear up if you have it out, like so. Go ahead and separate the legs. Pretty much just get them out the way for now. You can get into a Gerwalk mode if you wanted to see that. But he will, if you shake him around, start automorphing because he has a huge automorph feature. Actually, I say get the legs out the way, but basically you have to start bringing the waist down like this. And typically, if my finger wasn't holding it, let me try to go back on that. It starts transforming itself pretty much, which is cool. Then you go ahead, bring the legs down, fold these fins over to the side right there, bring these feet out like this, bring the arms down, they're basically transformed. Go ahead, and here's one of the frustrating things. Unpeg this and bring these out to the side. Take this hook right here and hook it up underneath of the landing gear. Was right there, and he's transformed. And here's one of the things off top that I said sucks, like when I mentioned mold degradation. His hand, his fingers right here just fell off when I put this guy. It was already like that. I didn't play with it or anything. It was just already loose, which is frustrating. Luckily, it tends to be only on that hand. The other hand is better. But he's a decent looking robot. Another thing is this is loose, but maybe that's due to time. I don't know. But ugh, the paint on his face is messy and scratched. So it's like you will have to be extremely careful. I think I was looking at this and saw that it was a little bit messed up, and I touched it by accident and scraped it even more. One thing that I'm liking that I don't know if I've ever noticed, his eyes are glowing and they do look like the cartoon. Like, I don't have a light behind him, but the light piping is still seeping through in there, and you can see his little pupils like they had on the cartoon, which was always cool. Articulation on all of them is decent. The arms would be able to rotate, but these wings ain't going nowhere because that's one solid piece all the way, pretty much all the way across. But they can go in and out like that, all the way out. They have an elbow swivel, and the elbow bends 90 degrees. Unfortunately, and I hated this, and they use this a lot in the animated design, he has the monkey arm situation. And then these null ray cannons, and I'll be nice and say null ray cannons for all three of them because they are clones of Starscream. They are on his forearms instead of his biceps, which I don't like. Leg, no waist joint. Legs are on a universal joint that goes out and forward, so it kicks all the way back, all the way forward as much as you can do it. Thigh swivel. There's a bend here due to transformation, which tend to be a little bit loose depending on the toy. And the knee bends like that. And the foot is on the ball joint, so they can go all the way up, all the way back. The slightest of ankle pivot. And the toes can close together like that. So, yeah. Well, I said it's only on this hand. You're seeing that just fall off over here. So, that is one reason why this toy frustrated the heck out of me. One last feature before I bring the other two out. If you move this forward, just stay off. His arm can open up, revealing some, like, I guess, extra blasters. And this thing just, ugh, it's so cheap feeling that you've seen that just pop off so easy. But I guess you can do that. I don't think he ever did that on the show. If he did, I have no recollection of that. Get in there. And of course, you can put the missiles in here and shoot. And that one got stuck. The ball jointed neck, the ball is at the bottom and not in the top of his head. So his head can look up a taste, not really down due to that big chin. You can look that far to that side and that far to this side because of his collar getting in the way. But, yeah, other than that, you can lift these cannons up like that. Let's put that together. Lift it up like that. Urgh. Wait till I get to the other toys because they got problems too. You can put it up like that if you wanted to. I mean, it doesn't really look like it did on the cartoon at all in the slightest. And this line did a wonderful job of making the toys look like the cartoon, except for this guy. Here they are together, and I wanted to do a nitpick that doesn't have anything to do with the actual toys because you can pretend the toys are anything. But on the show, all the other clones of Starscream were parts of his personality, and one thing I hated with Skywarp was his fear, his cowardice. And that drove me crazy because that made him absolutely useless as a Decepticon. Or as just a character, period, because he was just extremely cowardly. He was scared of everything. And Sunstorm was a butt-kissing, groveling, boot-licking character. Just like, oh yes, Your Highness. Oh, that's a great plan you made there. And yeah, that was kind of frustrating. I left his missiles in because his is a different color than Skywarp's and Starscream's, which are completely identical. If you mix them, you can just mix and match. If you store them somewhere, it doesn't even matter which ones you grab because they're the same exact color. Here I'll let you look at their deco differences in robot mode. And I think Skywarp probably got the short end of the stick, but can't really tell. Starscream seems to have the most care. He has the most paint. One thing off top, Skywarp is the only one that doesn't have like a difference in color painted on the middle of his foot, whereas those two do. Sunstorm doesn't have a painted crotch. These two do, but not only does Starscream have a painted crotch, but he has black on top of that paint, which is a little extra that the other two don't have. And of course, like you saw in jet mode, the wings are still the same basically. Sunstorm has a completely white face as the others have purple. And it looks kind of a wreck, to be honest. Let's let you see Skywarp up close. His is more or less a wreck too. So I'm gonna guess they use bad paint on all of them, or maybe the paint on top of transparent orange plastic or red plastic in his case wasn't such a good idea. But yeah, you could see that stuff. Let's let you see them from the back. Hopefully I can do this without them falling over. You can see which one you like better this way. And one thing I didn't go into, and let's use Skywarp as an example. I love the way the molding or the design choices were as far as the body. Like I said about Soundwave, he has like a spine detail, which is rather nice. I mean, it looks very good, even though they all have, because of the design of the cartoon, like really long monkey arms, which may take away from some people. But as you can see, the whole back of his legs is colored and the back of theirs isn't. In the visual problems, Sunstorm, getting these fins to not pop off. You see how easy that was? I didn't have to tug or anything. Getting them to stay on, both of them, is just so difficult. They fall off. You can never lay this guy on his back. If he falls on his back, they're flying. This leg, and here's one thing I noticed. I mentioned his loose leg. The ratchet, these are supposed to have ratchets on both sides, and he does have ratchets in that, but on this side he doesn't. So that's a problem with him. I'm not sure if all of them are going to have that problem. And this guy, look at the discoloration in his hips. Like this one is more close, but that one just, it's just like this was made in a KO factory. And I didn't mention that Sunstorm was a special, he came in a special 2-pack with, I believe, a Legion's class Ratchet, if I'm not mistaken. And problem I have with this dude, besides those fins, when I try to move his legs forward, boom, the ratchet is so tight, and this joint mushroom peg is so loose, his leg just pops off. This one doesn't have that problem, but I just got lucky there. Skywarp has the same tail fin problem, but another issue, he has this foot just pops off the ball socket, like just so friggin' easy. I don't think either these can pop off, but they don't have the same problem as Starscream, luckily. But I'll show you them all with their arm weapons deployed. Here they are with those arm weapons deployed. I think, not the arm weapons, but color scheme wise, I think Skywarp kind of wins out to me as being my favorite one of these dudes. It's a toss up between him and Sunstorm. I definitely like those two better than Starscream. I already showed his off earlier, so I'm not going to waste time. But these guys, I mean, they would be alright, but they have so many problems. It's just, it takes away from the fun and just frustrates me to no end. Plus it is, even though they have all that posability, it's very difficult to get a good pose because the whole arm curl, monkey arm thing they got going on, that frustrates the crap out of me. Because it just, it's hard to do anything when their hands are just looking like that. It's so frustrating. But, I don't know. It's hard for me to recommend these unless you're building a Transformers animated collection. That's the review that I gave Soundwave, who, let's just do a comparison right now. He is this tall compared to them. Right there. And while we're at it, here's Lugnut, who is also a Voyager class figure. And yeah, definitely friggin' out of scale. But, like I said, I can't even recommend these dudes because they are frustrating as crap. But anyway, if you like this video, like I said earlier, give me a like, give that video a click, or give this video a click, and then come back and give that video a click. And remember to subscribe. T-Man978, out of here. Thanks for watching.